He may have never had a run in the WWE, but that didn't stop the man at number 4 from being voted one of wrestling's most awesome managers. He was one of the best, he'll be greatly missed, and a KC alumni. Ladies and gentlemen, the Playboy, Gary Hart.
Oh, Gary was the man. Gary was the whitest black dude ever.
My man, I want you to go in, do your job, get it done. Let's go out to dinner. Let's go do some things. After that, go back tomorrow and do it all over again.
Great. Absolutely should be up there, at least that high.
Gary Hart was good. That's it.
Good.
Good.
That's a good call. Even though Gary Hart never made it to a supposed national, worldwide level, in Texas he was probably the most hated manager there, and he did help get the talent that he was with over.
Now, Dusty Rhodes would have put him number 1. He said that he was the greatest manager ever because he really knew how to grab heat with doing next to nothing, like just a look, a tilt of the head. I mean, he had something that Dusty said was just, for anything that he was worked with him, he said he drew huge money.
I loved Gary Hart, okay? Gary Hart was one of the most clever managers. He was not a very colorful manager. He bordered more on the businessman side. And yeah, Gary Hart, number 4, yeah, good placement.
Gary Hart, very good manager. I saw a lot of his work on VHS tapes and even some beta tapes back in the day. Remember betas? Damien doesn't remember betas because he wasn't even alive. Yeah, yay for me.
Gary had on face paint. That was a black guy.
I think he was underrated, if anything. I don't know who's going to be above him. But from what I've heard, that he had real good psychology, and he always, like, when you put things together, he was always an asset. As far as, you know, it wasn't like he was just, you know, if it was 3 guys working, he had, you know, he always had some good input. Good finish guy.
He knew his game, was always a prominent figure anytime he worked with, you know, anybody he worked with. He was, you know, he's somebody to watch and learn from, absolutely.
Great mind, great talker. He can, you know, he could sell ketchup popsicles to nuns wearing white gloves.
Gary Hart could talk, bro. You know what I mean? He'd get on a mic. And I mean, I was a kid watching him. Dude could cut pro. I ain't gonna lie, you try to imitate it. And I was a kid. But Gary had soul. He had some swag. And Gary had been with some black women. Gary had been to the hood, I'm telling you. Because Gary knew, if you would have walked in the room, if you was blind, you'd be like this, who is that black dude on TV? What the hell are you talking about?
Colorful for back in the day. Colorful, real, believable, hated.
Oh, I hate where he belongs in.
He was the mouthpiece for the guys who, you know, who were, you know, murderers, like, you know, Abdul the Butcher. I mean, he drew people in, and he was a great mind too, especially with, you know, booking world class. So I mean, top 5, number 4. I could definitely see that. I definitely give my seal of approval.
Oh, she's terrible terrible worker. She's fucking rotten in the ring, but it was a great manager.
Gary Hart had the most successful quality of any manager, including Gary Hart, is a man that can talk. A man that can talk for talent. The origin of a manager in wrestling is you take people, and I'm not saying it because these guys aren't great workers, because they are, the Midnight Express. Jim Cornette was their manager because he could make up for their weaknesses and cause the whole group to have that strength, which is talking. You never heard Bobby Eaton or Dennis Condrey or Stan Lane talk, which actually, in a way, added to their mystique. Cornette talked, and the tag team did all the wrestling. It was a good combination that worked.
I don't know, because I believed that he was this bad thug from, you know, Halsted Street in Chicago. You know, and I mean, Gary Hart, what was it that he, J-Tex? Remember that with Terry Funk and Great Muda? And he had Hiro Matsuda out there. It was a really good stable, and yeah, big Gary Hart fan. And he was I was in Dallas with them. I had the honor of being in Dallas with them a little bit. And, yeah, well, you know, in the global days, but you know, at the Sportatorium, and brilliant.